thank you to you all for joining us today. I'm joined by Shades of Quo, who are David, Justin, Jack, and Richard. Richard or Rick?
Oh, you can call me both. These guys all call me Rick, but at work or when I'm in trouble, I'm Richard. So I'll answer to pretty much any of them.
Awesome.
Rick's very appropriate. It's thankfully I am the rhythm guitar player in this band, so it works quite well.
How did Shades of Quo come about?
Do you want to explain, Jack?
Yeah, go on then. So I was already in a band to begin with in about, it was about 2018, 2019. And then I got kicked out, unfortunately. And I thought, let's start a Quo band. I've been on about it before. In previous times I've been on about it, starting it up. It was just a case of who could fill the shoes. I'm originally a drummer, but I could play a little bit of guitar on the side. So I thought, let's go into guitar and let's sort of a lineup out. So David is my dad. Richard is my dad's best mate.
Call me Rick, Jack. Rick.
Oh, Rick then. Rick is my dad's best mate.
Call me Richard.
And then Justin is one of our old neighbours. So we all kind of know each other from association. And it kind of started from there in, 2021, I think? Yeah. And it just kind of started from there. We started practicing one February Tuesday afternoon, and it kind of went from there. And we just sort of did it for a bit of fun, just to see how it went along. And it just kind of flourished from there, if you want.
Do you have a particular era that you're focusing on, or are you a little bit of everything?
We go for the early stuff. Mm-hmm. We go for the first album till about 1982. Yeah, mm-hmm. Is that right? You know more than me about Quo albums, but
Dave's best one to be talking about this, because he's the one with the specific requirements for some songs.
So I'm led to believe, yeah.
He's so authentic. If we ventured anywhere near Margarita time, he'd leave.
I'd do a real Alan Lancaster and walk off.
It'd come back when we stop playing it, though.
So what are your thoughts on post-82, David?
I don't like anything beyond Can't Stand the Heat, and even Can't Stand the Heat for me is a little bit too poppy. So I like a load of genres of music, but I just can't get on with Quo beyond Can't Stand the Heat. I really don't like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. They've had some decent attempts at it in later years, but it's just not the same. It seems to have just lost it for me beyond then.
So does that include Whatever You Want in the no pile?
Well, we actually do play Whatever You Want, and I do think it's a decent album. Like I said, there are exceptions to that. But generally, I kind of stopped buying after Can't Stand the Heat, really.
So if somebody came to you and said, I want to play a track from In the Army Now or something, what would your thought be?
They keep wanting us to play In the Army Now. It happens, and I think one day we probably will end up doing it.
We get requests for it.
We do it. It suits a certain audience. If we were to go and play a rock club with a load of down and out Quo fans, we wouldn't necessarily put it in there. But if you were playing a wedding or a birthday or a Friday night pub somewhere that just wants a band on, then maybe it would fit. I'm not such a stick in them what I'd like to think. I'm growing to it slightly. I shouldn't have said this on yesterday. It's kind of growing on me a little bit, the idea.
I mean, with such a wide catalogue, do you think that kind of increases expectation from the audience for a tribute band like yourself?
I would say yes. We do get people that will say, "Oh, you didn't play Burning Bridges. Oh, you didn't play In the Army now. What's the other one? The Wanderer." You know, and it's like, yeah, well, it's kind of outside of what we wanted to do, but I accept that it will fit some scenarios.
I think since we first started, we have we set off with very firm ideas of what songs to play, and there were songs that we play now that we probably wouldn't have considered first off. So I think we've relented a little bit. We're not quite as hardline as we were, and we are playing different gigs with different audiences. Some audiences like the the heavy sort of classic heads down Quo. Other audiences want that sort of sing along. So I think at some point, we're going to have to embrace a little bit, and it's good to hear Dave, sort of saying he thinks the same, that we need to embrace some of these more pop-oriented songs. Because we can, we can put our slant on them. We don't have to. We don't play. We're not, apart from my blonde wig and me rockstar glasses. We're not looking like Quo. We're not particularly sound alike Quo. We play the songs as we play them. So I think we have quite a heavy sound. So if we did one of the more pop orientated songs, we could always put our slant on it and make it our own.
Are there any songs in your set list that you found tricky to master? Because Quo is deceptively easy, isn't it?
Absolutely. I remember the first practice. We sort of got together, and I don't think I could play one Quo song all the way through. I could play bits, and we played. I forget which songs we played, but
wasn't it Backwater and Just Take Me?
Yeah,
they were the first two we started out with.
Yeah,
we didn't exactly jump in at the shallow end. We did probably pick some of the more technical early Quo stuff to start with.
It probably would have been the sort of quiet rhythm part right at the start of Backwater. I had no idea how to play that, and I'm looking at Jack saying, "Do you know how to play it?" And he was like, "Well, I could do this," and did something, that's not correct at all. But we just got through. We just found a way. So in the early days, I'd not particularly played my guitar a lot. In recent years, I'd got guitars, and they were all sort of getting a little bit dusty. So from those initial practices, I've now got to a point where I play my guitar a lot, sort of week by week, gig by gig. The way that I play the songs improves. So I'm by no means on top of them. I'm doing okay, but I'm not on top of them. We've got a long way to go, and still very much enjoying that. Getting together and playing gigs, but just the sort of hobby part of I play the guitar quite a lot, so I enjoy that.
Given that you are all kind of friends and family, you've all known each other for a long time, do you think that makes it easier to kind of gel together in a band situation?
I think absolutely.
That's a good question, that. No, I think it does, yeah.
I've been with a few bands, and I'd taken a really big break because obviously, you kind of get married, you have kids. So I'd been in a few bands early on when I lived in Northampton. And I would have to say that this band is the one I enjoy the most. And I think part of that is just down to underestimating Status Quo and how much fun it is. And the fact that the four of us know each other, and we have we're practicing again tomorrow night, and we always have a laugh. It's never kind of cross words. We have a laugh and just crack on.
We always said when we started this thing with it that we didn't want to put undue pressure on ourselves. So that were always going to be a thing for fun. It's just that it kind of just so happens that after a few practices we realised that actually we do gel together quite well, and actually it works quite well. So, but we still don't put you know, a load of pressure on ourselves. So it's still, we do it for fun, and it still is fun. We absolutely enjoy ourselves doing it, which is exactly what we wanted to do. It's just like four blokes having fun. That's what we do.
How many gigs have you played so far, and do you have any kind of memorable gigs that stick in your mind?
How many have we?
I don't know how many we've played.
I've lost count as well. I think
we must be somewhere near 20 now.
Above 20, I would have thought. I remember in the early days.
I think we practiced for well over a year before we even considered doing a gig. We didn't set out with the plan to let's be a Quo cover tribute band, and let's go out gigging. It was more, I've got a guitar, Dave's got a bass, Justin's a drummer, Jack's got a guitar. Come on, let's get together and play some songs. So that was almost going to be the everything. We were going to get together and practice on a Tuesday night or whenever, and that was going to be the band. But after doing that for probably a year, we advanced a lot with the songs. We learned the songs a lot better, became better musicians. I used musician with the loosest of meetings, and it were almost we started to sound like a band. And it were almost a surprise. Hang on, we're pretty together. Let's do a gig, and it was yeah. So the first gig was quite daunting. I'd never played a gig in a band before. I'd been up on stage drunk, and grabbed a guitar and played along to a Metallica song or whatever, but never actually done a gig. So that was quite a challenge at first, but we seem to have settled nicely into it. Done a lot of gigs. The sort of impossible dream when we started off. Dave's got his Bars Alive t-shirt on, I see, which is sort of leads me into that. I remember saying to my boss at work that we'd started a band, and what we planned on playing was Barnes Alive, which is the local town music festival, which was just over a week ago. All the pubs in town, I think there are 29 venues, all have bands and solo singers, acoustic guitarists, and some of everything playing all day. And I said that, we were like, our goal is to, one day we're going to play Barnsley Live, and it were almost like, we'll never do that. That's for proper bands, and we're just that silly on a Tuesday night. But we played Barnsley Live just over a week ago, and that's the third time we've done it. Each time to a pub full of people, a very positive, receptive audience who have clapped and sung and joined in, and that just to feel that energy coming back from the crowd, that they think they're enjoying what we are doing, and I'm up there and we're up there enjoying it too. Is just amazing.
Is there a particular song in the set that elicits that kind of reaction?
Paper Plane.
Paper Plane, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be Paper Plane.
Yeah, sing along.
Every time.
Yeah. Just to get them singing back at you. And Barnsley Live, as Rick says, it's a big event in Barnsley every June. We played, as Rick mentioned, just over a week ago, and there was a guy came up to Jack, I think, after we'd finished, and he'd actually come up from London for the weekend, and he said that he wanted to come and see us, but he'd come up for the event itself.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about Quo, the band, for a moment. Between you, how many times have you seen the band live?
I think I've seen them 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more. I'm not sure.
I have no idea because I've seen them multiple times on multiple tours. I honestly have no idea. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Quo more than any other band.
Number.
I think I've seen Metallica 9 times. Bands like that. Seen lots of bands, lots of times, but of them all, I've seen Quo most. I mentioned on the message I sent at first, Jamie. I remember going to Norwich City in about 19. When were Norwich City Football Club? Early 90s. We went to Frantic 4 a couple of times. I've seen them all over the country.
We've been seen them in
Nottingham, Sheffield. We went to Scarborough last year.
Mm-hmm.
So many times.
I honestly don't know a number, but I know 1 year must have been in '90s. I know 1 year I made nearly every day, so on UK tour. So
I've done about 8 times. They were actually the second gig I ever went to, and my first of all bands was Level 42. That would have been about 88, and then Quo were 89 at the NEC. Down to Spinner Disc record shop in Northampton, 17 quid got you your ticket to the gig at NEC and your coach there and back. The good old days when it didn't cost an arm and a leg to go to a gig.
So would that have been one of the dates that they filmed at?
Do you know? I think probably yes. I think actually it would have been 88 and 89 I went to see them. And when was Rockin' All Over the Years?
They filmed that in 1989.
So I know I went to that concert at the NEC because then I saw them the following year at Nebworth on the 30th of June 1990. There was this big multi-lineup concert at Nebworth Park, and Quo were second on the gig after Tears for Fears.
And they played a longer set than has been released, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was a good gig, and I think that was the first time. Because I was just asked to go along by a mate. A mate wanted to go and see him, and when I first went to a Quo gig, I kind of realised the enthusiasm and the energy that the fans have, and just head banging when I had air, with a complete stranger next to me in the crowd, and giving it the old air guitar, and that's it, Rick. Giving it the old air guitar, and just this complete stranger, me and him, rocking away together. And Francis Rossi said on the night, he said about if there's anybody sitting down next to you, give them a sharp elbow, because when you come to a Quo gig, you leave your credibility at the door. And it was a fantastic gig, and yeah, one of the best bands I've ever seen live. Got to be close to the top.
Indeed. You mentioned going to the Frantic 4 tours. I mean, the audience, to talk about audience for a moment, was quite, frantic for those gigs.
As in, do you mean ecstatic about it? They were very good gigs. They played songs that, people have not heard played for quite some time in the manner they played them as well, without a keyboarding background, obviously. I think did we go to 2-1 each year? We went twice, didn't we? Both years, I think.
Yeah, we went twice. The first time we went to Manchester Apollo.
We did.
Your Steve came. That was the first time.
Yeah.
Your brother. We went into Manchester and enjoyed some of their drinking haunts before we went. So we had a really good day. So I think we were probably feeling a bit frantic by the time we got there. And a really good gig. It was good to see what I would think is the original band playing the songs in the original way. That's how I see our band as being. The 4 of us playing the songs, minor sort of additions. There's no keyboards, no sort of pop element. It's guitars and drums and a bit of headbanging.
What gear are you using at the moment? Do you have sort of guitar replicas, or are you using something very similar?
I have a green Telecaster. Rick has got a white Telecaster. So they sort of look almost identical as to the way they would have. I was a bit lucky with mine because I don't think they sell it anymore. It was a limited edition at the time that Fender was, Squier actually was selling at the time. I just dropped on it one day, and when we had this idea of doing this, Sort of dropped on it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to do it the proper way instead of using some old other guitar that you might use.
I've got quite a few guitars. I think I've got 19
at the minute. So yeah, as for gear, I don't drink anymore. So my hobby really is turned into a lot of it revolves around music. I go to the music, the guitar shows. So I quite like picking bits of gear up. So I'm I've got numerous amps and numerous guitars. So I've got here my white guitar. I have a couple of white tellies. So I follow a YouTuber, Dave Simpson. Other people may know who Dave Simpson is. He's a great guitarist. Follow his band. His van keeps breaking, and every time his van breaks, he has to sell a bit of gear. So my white Telecaster used to be Dave Simpson's Telecaster. So I quite like it for that. I was on the lookout for a white Telecaster just to look the part. So it's sort of double bubble really that I got the white Telecaster that I wanted, and it's also Dave Simpson's. So that resonates with me as well.
What about drums and bass?
So I play a Mustang, a wood tone Mustang, and I also have a Gretsch 220, which I do like that guitar. They're both short scale. I prefer short scale bass. So that's all I play really. I've got a couple of really old normal sized basses, an old Tanglewood thing, and that I very rarely play, to be honest. I was just looking at it and it's just sat there doing nothing. I've not played it for ages. But yeah, I've just got a standard kind of sunburst coloured Mustang that I play. I play that at most gigs. I love playing it. It's a lovely guitar to play.
To be honest, I've just got a Pearl export kit. If I was going authentic, I'd have to go out and get a Premier 5-piece. But no, I've always played when I've had acoustic kits in the past. I had electric for a little while, but when I played acoustic, I've always had Pearl export going back to the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So I just kind of stuck with what I know. I could make any kit sound rubbish, so it doesn't matter to me. But
I mean, given Quo's long history of drummers, do you have anybody that you're sort of trying to mimic, or are you doing it in your own style?
I think doing it in my own style. I don't really want to, the guys that play Quo, they played with Quo. That is their job. I'm a technical support manager for a software company. So the way I see it is, I can do it. I'm never going to be Matt Letley. I'm never going to be Jeff Rich. So I guess what I do is I watch all of them and I take different things from each of them. So, for instance, we've added pictures of Matchstick Men to our set recently, and what I try to do is mimic the way Matt Letley played it it'd be about 2011, I guess. But then other things, other tracks, I might look at John Coghlan and try and do it the same way John Coghlan does it. But ultimately, really, because those guys have probably got a bit better technique than I have, I do it my own way.
Well, we'll start to wrap it up here, but normally what I like to ask is, do each of you have a particular Quo album that you end up returning to more than others?
It's always on the level. Always on the level. I think On the Level demonstrates exactly what Quo is all about. Every single song on that album is out and out fantastic Quo. So it's just a fantastic album. Still, I play it over and over and over again still now. So it's on the level for me, definitely.
I would say for me, it has to be Pile Driver for me. Pile Driver is one of my favourite albums. I love Big Fat Mama, Oh Baby, A Year. all those Paper Planes on there as well. There's some great songs on there. I find myself listening to that time and time again. It's a great album.
I was just quickly looking on Spotify for a more modern album just to wind Dave up, but but I think for me, looking at my Spotify profile, for me, it's on the level that I seem to go back to as well.
Well, I'm going to have to go with. It were a film,
Really, but Bula Quo is no. I think
on the level, definitely.
but any of those very early albums, I like the picturesque.
What's it? So Matchstick Men and that album, the very
The early raw stuff. I quite like the feel of it. So any of the early albums, I'll happily listen to.
I think in all my years of doing the Quo-Cast, no one has ever said picturesque, matchstickable messages.
Yeah. I'll listen to that. Yeah, I like the quirkiness
Of it because it's
it's difficult to describe, but
yeah, I'll put that on and merrily listen to it.
I perhaps get
stuck in ruts with music, and end up listening to the same thing over and over again. So I quite like, I probably use Quo to as an alternative to
anything else that I'm sort of listening to,
because
it's different. It has a feel. I like the way that they used to be. Now that we
know how it developed and where it ended up.
Unfortunately for us, we only like it up to
the point where it continued to develop in a different direction. But those early
tracks are they're great. They're well worth a listen.
So Shades of Quo, you guys are on social media. You're on Facebook. Have you ventured over to Instagram yet?
We have, but it's we don't manage it very well. We haven't updated that page in probably a good 2 years. I don't know why. It's sort of, I don't know. I think there's a lot of his audience. It doesn't really do Instagram. A lot of his audience are probably targeted towards sort of middle age, towards the older generation, and they're on Facebook or they're on scrolling through YouTube. So that's the kind of audience we target. I know at the moment, TikTok's going wild and whatever else, and we try to do our best with TikTok, but we never seem to hit it the same as we do on Facebook. It's very difficult to sort of break out on a platform when you've been doing it on a platform for so long that it's hard to break out on a different platform now. So we kind of just use mainly Facebook, but we try to do TikTok as well.
Have you got any gigs coming up from August onwards?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the calendar.
We've got 2 in August, 16th and 23rd.
Yeah, we play one weekend after the other, don't we?
Yeah.
16th is the Garrison, isn't it, in Barnsley?
Yeah, 16th is the Garrison, and the 23rd we're on at Vault 27.
Yeah.
Getting back.
And then we're going up to, is it early October, we're up in Ilkley?
Yeah, we're going north. We'll need his passport.
Awesome. Well,
available for more, though.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Shades of Quo are available to be booked now. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Please do come back individually or as a group.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that.